Well, welcome everyone. I'm Frank Fear for Women's March Fort Myers, and we're delighted you're here. We're going to do something in 2022 that we did in 2020, and that is create a platform for folks who are running for local offices to share with you their platform, their ideas, why they're running, etc. And we are really tickled to start these community conversations with Gwyn Gittens. And Gwyn, thanks so much for being here and taking the time.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate all of the opportunities just to get the word out to the community about how important it is at this time of year to pay attention and to understand what their job is.
Well stated. First thing we wanted to do, and you and I talked about this before the program, is to make it very clear you're running for District 5 Lee County School Board. And so talk a bit about where District 5 is located.
Okay, and thank you for that question because people get a little confused about the school district zones. We have 3 zones, and that's east, west, and south. And east is anywhere from 75 to the county line, and from Charlotte County all the way down to the Hendry County line, and over to Slater Road on the other side of the river. That is all of East Zone. South Zone is basically Estero and Bonita and areas over by the beach. The West Zone is Cape Coral and all parts on the other side of the river. Where the confusion is, East Zone has several districts within it. I share East Zone with Melissa Giovanelli. She has 2, and I have 5. And 5 starts at 82 and goes to the Hendry County line east, and Hendry County line in the south, all the way up to the Charlotte County line. So all of that area, and then on the other side of the river, if you are off of Bayshore, all the way over to Slater Road, all of that is a part of District 5 as well. And I like to tell people that, yes, I represent each and every one of our 96,000 students, but I am the voice for the students in District 5.
Wow, 96,000.
Yeah.
That is quite a number. And you have a background in education. So why don't we move into, Gwyn, you talking about your background in education. You're an incumbent, so you're running for office again. So talk about your background and why you are running again in 2022.
Basically, the overall answer is I woke up one morning when I was really tearing my hair out as to whether I would run again. And the thought that came into my mind was a scripture that says, I have fought a good fight, I have finished my course, and I've kept the faith. And I wrote those 3 things down. I looked at them and I said, I fought a good fight, and I've kept the faith. I haven't been mean and nasty to anybody, but I have not finished my course. We are still the least represented as far as new schools. We still have the 70 to 80% of all of the portable classrooms in all of Lee County are in District 5. We still have the highest number of need for teachers, because trying to get teachers to come and teach out here is an issue. So there are so many things that are yet to be done. And I decided I needed to at least try one more time. My background, I believe, and I tell people this, that I feel my background gives me the ability to do this job because it is a $1.9 billion, and I call it a corporation. They say, oh no, it's a school district. Yes, but it is a business. And my 11 years as a corporate VP with a Fortune 500 company, having to do budgets and having to do strategy and planning and all of that. That piece of it gives me the ability and experience to work on that part of it. The other part, I taught for 11 years in Lee County School District. And I taught from adult ed, high school, mostly high school, 1 long year in middle school, and 2 years in elementary. So I can empathize, not sympathize with the teachers and administrators at all different levels, and I know the difference. I bring, I think, a different perspective to the board. I told someone the other day that I've lived in 3 different countries, lived and worked in the Cayman Islands and Puerto Rico and then Bermuda and all over the US. And what that gives me is the ability to listen to people, understand different points of view, and take all of that together and come up with what's the best answer for all children.
Great background. And I'm also really, really pleased you talked about the scope and size of the district. You know, sometimes what happens, voters think about positions like school board as down ballot and don't take it as seriously as they should. And yet, if you open your newspaper literally almost every morning, there's an article about local and also state and national issues in K through 12. So I want to have you talk about your platform, but if you could link that to what you see as the major issues facing public education, nationally if you want, statewide, but certainly locally.
Well, I've noticed in our nation, we'll start broad picture, many people have, they call it being woke. And they say that now they are understanding what we are doing to their children, and they know now, and they're not going to let it happen. The communication piece, I've got 3 or 4 things, and one is communication, one is the achievement gap, fiscal responsibility and transparency, and community involved. The reason communication is at the top is because people get a lot of misinformation. I listened to someone the other day say something about the school board, and I'm like, but that's not how that happened. And I had to step in. Like someone said, we want all of the money that the government allots for each child to follow the child wherever they go, if they go to private or charter or whatever. And yes, that's true. That's okay. But what they don't understand is when the government gives money to a school district, if they give us $50,000, they're going to add what's called categoricals. And categoricals are, in other words, we're going to give you this 50,000. It's like me giving you 50,000 and saying, you can go to the mall with this 50,000, but you can only shop at Target and Sam's. And the things we need are at Dillard's or at Macy's or, DSW or at Publix, but we have to use it for those few items. That's what categoricals are. So if you take your child, and let's say each child gets $5,000, you take your child and that $5,000, we still have the mandate of categoricals that we have to do this, this, and this. So communication and understanding, no one sitting at that dais is against children. I totally agree with that. But I also know that people see things differently. So we need to communicate better. We are still a majority minority district. We have a plethora of people that don't speak the same language. We have something like 40 some dialects that our students speak. So how do you communicate this information to all of these parents and all of these taxpayers and voters in Lee County? Well, one way to do it is to break the communication down. And if you've listened to any meetings, I said it over and over and over again, that the national average reading level is 6th to 7th grade. So we should not put out any information about any new programs or any new schools that's over 7th grade level so that everyone can understand it. When I talk about the achievement gap, District 5 has the largest number of students that are in that achievement gap. What does that mean? There are levels 1 through 5 of student achievement. 3, 4, and 5 mean you're pretty much on grade level and you understand what's going on. Level 1s and 2s are babies that have trouble reading or with their math or whatever. How can you say that we are equitable when we have schools that have 90% level 1 and 2 students at the same school? Now, are they achieving? Yes, but why? Because those administrators and teachers are working so hard because they care about children. Why don't we have more of an equal distribution so nobody is working that hard to bring these kids up? So that's the achievement gap. Fiscal responsibility, well, my, I guess, claim to fame with that is from 2019 until 2022, I told the board I will not vote yes on anything that has to do with the school in the South Zone until you visit the fact that we need schools in District 5. And from 2019 until 22, 6-1, 6-1, I was the one. And finally, after presenting the data over and over again, they finally listened and realized we don't have the numbers to build down there. So we actually, with that 7-0 vote, stopped a $100 million project that was not needed. So we just need to be more transparent. We need to communicate on a level that everyone can understand. And we need to involve more of the community.
You know, you mentioned earlier about use the word empathy, and also in you describing your background, your multicultural and international experiences. And when I think of those two things, and I think of what's going on today, that very much didn't go on in my youth. People get very emotional about what's happening in the schools. And oftentimes it's difficult to have a conversation without people's emotions erupting. And one of the things that anybody who knows you knows your style is not confrontational, that you're a good listener, and that you really want to make sure, as you said, information gets to people in a way they can understand it. And then people have an opportunity to express their opinion. And you know, that's very much needed today. I mean, there's no question. It's not just in Lee County, it's needed everywhere.
Across the board. You would be amazed, and people would be amazed, the kickback that I get when they see me in a picture or in a video or interviewing with somebody that they feel is, oh, why are you talking with them? Because they are a person, they are a taxpayer, and they are a human being. And I have this thing, and it's out on my Facebook page. If we're going to communicate, we've got to find one thing to start out that conversation that we agree on. Now, we may go way, way apart as we're talking, but if we have that one nugget, for example, that children and their education are extremely important. Okay, we'll start from there. We agree. Now, how we do that, I may go this way and you may go this way, but until you hear why I'm going this way, or I hear why you're going that way, we can never kind of get closer together. I just finished doing an interview for about an hour on Cracker Nation. And you would not believe the number of people say, you went there. Yes, they're people, they have children, they are voters, they have concerns just like everybody else does. And until we realize that, and I did say this at the board meeting the last time, someone asked the question, why do you think the legislators want to have an elected superintendent? And I raised my hand and I said, the reason is right here, because it is not a referendum on anything other than the fact that they feel we cannot find one thing to agree on, work together, go this way and that way, and come back to center. It is a referendum on the board. It's not a referendum on anything else. Our school district is doing wonderful things. They should be thinking about doing some other things, but we as a board need to understand you can't tell someone to stay in their lane and stop asking questions. That's not how you build rapport. And we have got to get together on that board. I am very cautiously optimistic about the new superintendent. And I've been talking with him, and I know that I have faith in the fact that he is going to bring in some good thoughts and ideas. But the main thing, we've got to learn how to communicate, listen to others. It's not you have to go their way, but you have to listen to some of the things that they have to say and realize that this one way, your way, is not always the best.
I really appreciate everything you've talked about, because it's absolutely not only needed in the school district and in public education, everywhere.
Globally. And I often say on the dais, and I've said this before, it's like the Venn diagram with the two circles that intersect. And on this side is the way I see it, and on this side is the way you see it. And until we listen to each other, that little part in the middle is the nugget of where we're going to move forward. That little part in the middle is where democracy lives. And when you listen to me and I listen to you, we end up, remember, it's still most of the circle is over here, but this part in the middle is where we coexist. We have to listen to each other and understand each other. Someone brought up to me in one of my interviews, and they said, well, I've got to ask you about CRT. And I said, and he says, well, if you don't want to answer, you don't have to. I said, yes, I do. I said, I am the only minority sitting on that board, and everybody wants to know. It's like E.F. Hutton, what does she think about CRT? And I said, well, basically, CRT to me, one person explained it as minorities trying to take away capitalism, that we don't want capitalism. And I said, you have a house, right? And property and all. He says, yeah. I said, I don't want your house. I want my own. And you have a business, right? He said, yes. I said, I want my own business. And when it comes to my own house, I want to be able to drive down a tree-lined street and say, oh, I want my house here. Let's get this property. I don't want to take away capitalism. I don't want to say I'm a victim. I just want to have the opportunity to be a capitalist as well, to have my own house, my own business, my own education, all the things that democracy says that we can all have.
Wonderful, wonderful thoughts, Gwyn. Why don't we close this way, and we'll put the information up for the audience. I'm sure many people want to see more information about you and your campaign, and we'll put up the website link and also Facebook. Are there any other sites that you would think would be good for people to go to? And anything you want to say about your Facebook presence or your website that also about donating as well, but I'll just turn it back to you.
Definitely. I guess I'm not a good politician. I'm not always asking for money. And they tell me, oh, you got to ask for the dollars. And I remember teaching people in corporate how to ask for the sale. And I keep thinking to myself, I need to put that into place for me. However, I am diametrically opposed to the concept that the person that has the most money is the best candidate. I am diametrically opposed to that, because anyone that has wealthier friends or business owners or whatever can raise all of this money. Do they understand what it means when you say the achievement gap? Do they understand from my perspective as a teacher at all levels what that looks like? And what are some of the things we need to do to fix it? Excuse me. Do they understand when we're headed down this road to be able to say, well, wait a minute, you're not moving the needle. And so my point being, yes, I need to raise funds just so that I can get the word out. But I'm the incumbent, and I want people to understand. For 3.5 years, and at the time of the race, it'll be almost 4. August 23rd, it'll be 2 months shy of 4 years. You have seen me in this position. You have heard me speak. You have seen me fight for District 5. You have heard my rationale for why I'm fighting for the students in District 5. You have seen me be the 6'1" when I, in my heart and soul, believed this is not the right thing. You've seen me speak up for what was right, even if it was just me by myself. So that should stand for something. Yes, I have to campaign, but between now and November, I still have a job to do. And I'm still working as the representative, as the voice of District 5. So you can listen to me and participate in my town halls. I have done for the last over 2 years now, every Thursday night at 7, I am on Facebook Live, and it's also on Facebook Live on Gwynetta S. Gittens, or Gwyn Gittens for District 5, School District 5, on YouTube on Gwyn Gittens, and then Instagram, Gwyn Gittens. I am available on any media that you can think of. You can also reach me at my office and the school district website, that is Gwynetta SG, GWYNETTA SG, at leastschools.net. Answer questions and help you through issues until that time is up. I do want to invite everyone on April 21st from 4 to 7 at Mugs and Jugs on Lee Boulevard. I'm having a meet and greet. Come and meet me face to face. Ask me some of those questions that you've heard answers from someone else. Ask me. Let me tell you exactly what the truth is about me and what I think and what I do and what I believe we need to do to make all of our children as successful as they possibly can be. So on April 21st, join us at Mugs and Jugs. We'll have a lot of fun. There's a DJ going to be there. We'll have food and fun, and it's kid friendly.
Thank you so much for spending time with us, Gwyn. Thoroughly enjoyable and very substantive. Those of you out there, District 5, please vote in August. Vote again in November. Thank you, Gwyn Gittens, for being with us, and all the best to you. This is Frank Fear for Women's March Fort Myers. We hope to see you next time.